Well, welcome everyone. I think you should be able to hear us now to a very special holiday footnotes. Before we get started, I have a brief, very important announcement. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and all who were able have finally gathered round our fine gaming table. Let's talk of games past and those yet to come in hopes your DM might spoil story crumbs. I'm so glad that we were able to get several of our friends. Oh, Jake, yes. Yes, Jake. I did not warn you beforehand.
I'm so bad right now.
You didn't know.
Well, I'm very glad to have our dear Jake and Konner and Victoria as well here for this is officially our last footnotes of the year.
Yeah.
We don't have another one for so long. It'll be like January.
Like,
And we don't even know who's going to be there.
be like 2 weeks.
Yes, but it's also next year. Konner, I need more content.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How have y'all been enjoying your evening?
Yeah.
I have with this little
It's been good.
Yes, I don't believe this tertiary familiar of the Stories to D4 show has been introduced. This is Daisy, one of my mother's pups, and she is middlingly excited to be here.
Yeah.
She is
The lower end of that.
the
Yeah.
true.
She's not as excited as Coco is like half
No,
the time.
never is excited.
Yeah.
I'm
Coco
excited,
has been
though.
running around very jealous that Daisy is currently being held, but I'm sure Daisy will get a break in just a moment. Welcome, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying Victoria's fine food and all of the drink y'all brought. We don't have a lot of announcements today. Jake, do you want this? Would you like to say hello? Here you go. Here you go. We don't have a lot for our announcements today. We have two or so kind of big announcements. Before everything, though, thank you so much for joining us. Footnotes is our kind of D&D after show where Victoria and I get together with some of our wonderful players here to discuss different topics going on in the tabletop space, but also just to talk about our campaign, which you did it. It's been months. You've run through. We've hit the end of the year.
I'm impressed with all of us.
I can't believe we made it to level 5.
I
I
know.
can't believe someone hasn't died yet.
We have. Konner made the announcement.
Made the announcement.
Oh wait, we made it to level 5?
Yeah.
So, yes, now, if you've been paying attention and following along, this most recent session ended in the middle of a very dangerous combat. However, with Elilier Arendral taken out of action, the party's efforts redoubled, and all of the many adventures you've gone on. The next time you take a rest, you will be level 5. So in a little bit, we'll be rolling some hit dice, talking about what that level encompasses, and otherwise telling me about how you're going to ruin my future encounters.
Oh, fun.
We have one big announcement that I really want to make sure everyone's aware of. If you're here, you probably like us. We play some pretty fun D&D. They make some pretty great characters. I'm generally proud of all my players. And hopefully very soon, we'll be playing in a special one-shot called Tales from the Battlesphere. This one-shot is going to be self-contained. If you haven't been following along every episode, that's okay. Once we hit our subscriber goal that you can see on the bottom of the screen, we're going to be setting a time. And Konner's got a pretty cool character lined up.
I don't know. I think
Only Konner?
Only Konner.
I think my
Jake, you can feel called out.
I
again
feel more than attacked.
You are
right
called
here.
out.
You are called out.
Tabaxi. Tabaxi?
We did hear a little. I believe you actually did quite a bit of building last time for this special character. Jake, do you have anything you want to say about your character?
It's gonna kill Connors. There's now a blood
Oof.
grudge.
I don't know about
I
that.
am-
I don't know about all that.
It at
No.
least could kill Victoria's pretty easily.
Again, knowing how Konner builds characters, Jake, I think you're out of luck.
I will say the character that I pulled out of my head is probably one of my better ones.
Out of your head.
Oh, it's absolutely. I think it might be the most optimized I've ever seen Jake build.
Nice.
I want to murder. Oh wait,
Well, you want to do a violence.
You want to do a violence. We'll
it's
be
a battle spear.
terms of service friendly. Want to do a fight.
Additionally,
I'm gonna make money.
the last announcement, and I swear we can just go talk about our games and the holiday cheer. We do have one more game of Stories to D4 this year. It's not going to be next week. We're taking the week off for the Christmas holidays and whatever other relaxation our players are going to get up to. We also are going to be having our session. Our last session is going to happen on New Year's Eve. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of champagne, if I'm to understand correctly. and it's going to be a little bit of a smaller cast. With Elle captured, well, we're going to be down one Clella.
Yeah.
And we're also not going to be having Amanda for that session. We wish them the best, and we can't wait to have them back at the table.
We'll have to talk about seating for that.
Oh, I'm very excited to see how that ends up going.
Oh boy.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about last week's sessions before we talk about the whole campaign?
Please.
Let's do it.
There's a lot.
Well, I've been gabbing a whole bunch. I can hand this over to Victoria, or if either of you have something you'd like to start with.
Victoria is always the best start.
Great. I'll just say that so much happens in sessions, and it doesn't feel like it at first. If you're new to playing Dungeons and Dragons, downtime will feel like wasted time. Almost.
Oh no, when you're in active time, you might go on 7 fights in one day, but in downtime, you might teach yourself Dwarven for 2 weeks.
Right. It doesn't feel the same as getting to actually play out your character doing things necessarily, but we did do 5 whole weeks of downtime where all of us got to address or move towards achieving certain goals. And again, as a new player, was not a fan of downtime. And I said it very early for my first character. I said, this is the only activity I'm ever going to do during downtime. So for 3 years, I did the same activity every time we had downtime. And it was fantastic.
And what was that activity?
I built my own magical breastplate, which is now to the point of being like an almost artifact. Almost?
The breastplate of Moradin is possibly one of the most powerful suits of armor on our plane.
The breastplate of the Silver Dawn. It's okay. We can call it what it is.
We can call it what it is?
We
All
can call
right.
it what it is.
Change.
But I will say that as a new player, downtime can feel like, oh, I'm out of rolling and RPing and really feeling like my character, but it is a chance for you to explore that other half, because you have that combat and that, like, interrogating a shopkeeper or an informant, and you've got, like, that in-session kind of person that you play, but then stepping back into downtime really feels like exploring the other part, where it's like, you know, if you go personally to buy bread, you're not going to act like your D&D character. How does your D&D character buy bread? How does your D&D character navigate just living in the world amongst everybody that you've met or haven't really interacted with yet? And that's why I like downtime, because it really introduces you to the world. Right.
You're actually people living in else.
It fleshes out that feeling of belonging to the world, in my opinion. I don't know about y'all.
No, I could see it. Especially, like, this sounds so weird, but I've never seen a, for lack of a better word, house hunter episode of D&D.
Yeah.
That is
fun.
the only way I can explain it. But that was still perfect because it's what we needed. It was in character, but it was very human. It was personal, and I love that.
Yeah, I kind of like the housekeeping aspect of downtime, where you kind of can, like, either close off loose ends or investigate loose ends for it, and kind of, in a condensed amount of time, do a lot of things, which is great, I think.
Exactly, because everyone wants to get proficiency in that poisoner's kit. Just what time do you have?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
downtime.
Yeah.
Amanda here in chat. Hi, Amanda. We miss you. We hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Downtime is actually, she says, is great for personal goals.
Yeah.
Which we actually got to see a little bit of that with Konner. Konner, you had asked specifically, you were trying to find augmentations and improvements to your personal power.
Yeah.
I think you ended up finding it.
I think I might have.
That was, okay, I'm going to be honest.
Are we going to talk about it?
I've played a lot of
Let's do
D&D. Truly, I feel like I've played quite a bit of D&D.
You've played, I think we calculated somewhere around 900 hours.
Okay, cool. And what Konner's been doing with his PC has felt some of the most impactful singular moments in time.
What a guy.
Where a couple minutes gives you so much to sink your teeth into, to try to understand the interplay between what Matt and Konner are talking about has been some of my favorite moments of D&D that I haven't been involved directly in. Like, we all have our character did some amazing thing, but when we look across the party, Thorn's story has been so fascinating to just watch develop.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of it, but
I
it's
was gonna
chunky.
say,
Yeah.
We don't even
Yeah.
have the whole of it. We just, like, we get a horrible, tragic backstory, and we're like, give us more. And Matt's not giving us more yet, and I'm so mad about it.
Look at that dog.
Furious.
For a second.
I've been
My
holding her hand.
this little Daisy, she started off so spooked, but she's absolutely fallen in love with our players here.
Yeah. Oh, her name is Daisy. She's Matt's
This
mom's
is-
dog.
Yes. Now her sister Lola is actually staying with someone else, But we do have this lovely pup here for now.
Her and Coco are friends. They love each other enough that it's been pretty fun so far. We have a couple more days of this.
I have a flock of familiars.
You do have a flock of
I have
familiars.
Jazz, Coco, and Daisy.
And she looks, again, Jake has this thing with our pets where he just like immediately becomes friends, and this is what's happened here.
She's gonna
We
fall
can't
asleep.
get any more pets at our house, and that's why. We have 4. We don't need any more. That's
Okay.
starting to get a little bit too much, but I want more is the problem. So here I am with
Do
Mad
you-
Victorious pets.
Connor, do you mind? Now it's going to be up to you how comfortable we are. How comfortable you are talking about what happened in the Bulwark Forest. Do you want me to mention what that object is?
Yeah, if you're willing to share it.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
So that was something known as a bleeding star, specifically
Remember
a
that
bleeding
from
emerald.
The one shot.
Yes, so I did a little bit of a naughty. With our previous one-shot, our Halloween one-shot, it was fully standalone. A lot of people, we've talked with several of our friends who've watched that, but haven't yet seen our actual campaign. It's a great place to go check us out. We had a wonderful guest, Jen. But
Jen.
in that, we saw a bleeding topaz, another one of these strange glowing stones that had fallen from the sky.
Are you 2 for 2 on the strange magical rocks?
The bleeding topaz is actually right there next to Victoria. Just a small little gem that Connor's PC had claimed during that one
There
shot.
you go.
I'm curious if
We'll give you your spoils.
Mr. Tenenbaum might be coming for me now that I have this emerald.
Ooh, he may or may not be. I'm not saying that I would weaponize Lord Tenenbaum, but Tenenbaum's name was dropped during the most recent session.
It was.
It's not okay. That was fantastic, by the way. As somebody who got to play in that session, I was like, "Woo, whiplash!" Okay, that's interesting. But Elts feels so alive
Oh,
because we've gotten to play in it as our current PCs, and we got to have that taste in that Halloween one shot of Elts and kind of the upper crust of society.
and you've spent most of your time now touching. You've been in the weeds, and you've been in the Palladium Palace.
Right. We've been kind of across the board. Not in like the middle zones, but as our current PCs, we went to Orc Town. We've kind of been investigating. We've gotten a little bit of dealing with one of the guilds, the mercenaries, and a city that can give you all of these different experiences is just so much fun to explore because, hey, I'm a noble lady. Am I going to go try to like hold court with some of the nobles here and try to advance my station while I'm in town? It's Ismini, so the answer is likely no. But I have that option, and it's a really good feeling to know that I can go from the cheapest bar to holding court with high noble officials.
Yeah, I mean, we did that last session essentially.
Yeah.
We were in the presence of the king,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but previously we were in a bar of brawlers essentially.
Yeah.
So.
And
Right. And now you weren't. So you actually engaged with an Eltsian noblewoman, Iris Perkins, who currently is with you in quite a bit of danger, actually.
Yeah.
You all aren't entirely certain as to what is happening
right.
with that encounter.
Still mad at
No
you for
clue.
that encounter.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be mad at me.
You
Okay.
brought a displacer beast. Who brings a displacer beast to a knife fight?
What's great, a little bit of history as to why my players were a little frustrated about the Displacer Beast.
A little?
That miniature that's on the table is something that I don't actually believe Jake is personally familiar with.
No, but
though
I am.
Connor and Victoria are. I actually painted up that miniature not as an enemy for the players to face against, but was actually a wild shape of a specialized player character in our last campaign.
Is he in chat?
Jason?
If you're here,
If you're
I
here.
used your Displacer Beast against the party.
Yeah.
So I want to just say this, and this is not something that I think we can get into today necessarily, but kind of the thought. Oh my goodness, she is so
She was
happy.
asleep a minute ago.
Wow. So there's this feeling whenever you're playing these campaigns of we have miniatures that were us in our last campaign, and it would be very hard, I think, for our DM to use them as a random bandit or random person fighting.
The Finland miniature will not come down as a random dwarf.
But then you've got, for example, our druids with their wild shape. You've got these beast forms that you go into, or you're playing a ranger and you have an animal companion. And this is not something for today, but something I kind of want to put out there as a thing to think about. how other players and DMs feel about using these miniatures that have been used at their table before as either specific, maybe mini bosses, so like middle rank, or your own players' wild shapes, animal companions. Because I had Miko in my campaign, and I never wanted to run a wolf encounter where I used the Miko mini because was it Miko?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just like, do I want to do this? Do I want to run these players against something that they as people recognize? Again, not for today, but something to kind of put out there to think about.
It's a good thing for us to talk about here. Jake?
So I would actually want to know the flip side too, like not just the miniature, but the character itself. Like if you had Finolin's mini and we were fighting Finolin, I would actually love that. But if you had Finolin's miniature out there and it was a random bard bandit,
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
would be
against
hurt.
using
Right.
player characters specifically. There are even actually a few NPCs that their miniatures will only ever be used again if I'm using that character.
And this comes from a place of us being able to afford to do this because miniatures are expensive. You know, you're paying $5-6 for 2 miniatures. So it's a
Not
place
counting the
where,
time to paint
right,
it, too.
just if you're getting the Nolzers, the Whiz Kids, and then if you start doing personalized miniatures, you start going up in price. And so for us, it's like we have dedicated this singular miniature that will never get to be used for something else. So it is, I recognize, a place where we can kind of say, we can take that cost and say that amount of money goes to that mini being specifically for somebody. And since so many D&D minis come in packs of 2, that's another interesting thing, because we had this conversation about one of our packs of elf wizards for our previous elf wizard where both of them kind of felt like they could have been a mini for her. So what do you do there? Do you paint them up as this player? Do you start to use, like, if you shift later in a campaign? It's a question that kind of raises a lot of extra questions for me.
Yeah, I think I am the opposite. I like it because I have like kind of like a nostalgia for knowing what that mini is.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if it's going to be what I expected or if it's going to be something different.
Could I use Sildar Hallwinter's miniature again?
I think you could.
think
And
you
he
could,
was
yeah.
very close to us. Okay. For
Oh,
any-
and some folks in chat have played the Lost Mines of Fandelver.
I would
where
say-
he is an NPC.
I want everybody in chat, this is going to be my big warning here. We did Lost Mines and went into the homebrew setting that our DM, thankfully, wonderfully created for us. So we may mention some people from Lost Mines, with no spoilers here, who may or may not have different stories than what you experience. And that's kind of the joy of D&D, is you started out with this structure and moved on past it. So yeah, again, moving back into that, the little caveat there being, hey, we did Lost Mines, so you may hear a few names. I think you could use Sildar.
So, you know, we talked a little bit about past sessions. We actually went ahead. Victoria put up these wonderful lights up here for us to have a bit of holiday. And look, we got colorful stuff going on just to the side over here. All of this is to say, I think it's time. Let's talk about this year of adventuring. Everything that's happened since we launched Stories to D4. I've got some questions that I'd love to hear. Yes, year.
The year in review.
I'd love to talk about. I have a couple questions here, just to see how each of you are feeling about some of the battles, some of the hardships, and some of the good times here in Elts. One of my favorite questions, and I've asked this on my previous campaign, my previous campaign, I got a different answer from every single player. So excited to see how this ends up here. What has been your favorite encounter? And if you can't pick, if you're stuck between the two, a couple of them, you can just go ahead and pick one.
I have 2.
You have 2? Okay. Konner, while they're thinking about it, you want to tell us about them?
Yeah, I think honestly I think it was one of the first major fights. It was in the sewers with the lizard folk.
Oh, yeah.
That was like one of my favorite. I thought it was cool. I always like, because I feel like, at least in the campaigns that we've done or the one shots, I haven't run into a lot of lizard folk.
Yep.
And
Right.
It was just kind of cool to fight them, in my opinion.
And
Right.
we've made them while they are intelligent, we've made lizard folk where they're almost alien in the way that they think about things.
Yeah. And then I think the other like encounter was probably the bridge troll. just because of like the shit show that it was.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Are we gonna?
I begin casting grease.
Chloe,
it was
Chloe
so
is
great.
with family right now. They're not
Oh,
even
I
there
prefer
here
her.
to defend themselves.
I
She's
know.
gonna like start
So-
feeling her ears burn.
I
Yeah.
cast grease.
yeah.
Hey, Chloe,
Everyone
do you
just
hear me?
turns to look at her.
Iconic grease casting.
Yeah, it was.
Look, I mean, I actually don't blame her because that was right after we had such a good use of grease to try and win a fight.
And Amanda actually says the bridge toll is one of the best memes, but the bullet was one of her favorite encounters.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna piggyback off that. If you want to keep talking the bridge tool, please do. The bullet will come.
Yeah, the bridge. I just thought like because it was really funny to see one person thinking like, yeah, this will work, or this is a good idea, and then everyone else at the table just being like, what are you doing?
That was literally me every fucking decision
Yeah.
last campaign.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
We hit most difficult later.
Yes, we'll talk about
Great.
most difficult a little bit
Right.
later.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just an encounter you liked. It could have been a fight. It could have been meeting Iselda and Caradoc. It could be pretty much whatever small snippet you really liked.
You already know
So-
mine.
I don't.
Oh no, you first.
The Vigilantes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that was good.
there's been so many. Okay,
Okay.
Bullsack the Goblin.
Bull-
Fantastic thing, because there was so much going on in that moment, and this ties into a lot of my feelings about the campaign. There was so much happening, and then Bullsack shows up, and it's like, oh, I can calm down for a minute. I can be chill.
It's like a palate
Because I
cleanser.
named someone Bullsack.
Because he
Yeah.
named somebody Bullsack. But it was,
Ack was his last name.
right, Bulls is his
Bulls.
first name. But it was one of those moments that was like, because, okay, I feel this way about a lot of things where anything horror, anything scary, anything tense, you always need a moment of comedic relief somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Maybe not even full gut belly laughing, but something to kind of alleviate the tension.
Yeah.
And I think the conversation with him was so good. We had so much fun. I felt the energy at the table was just that we finally were like, okay, we can breathe. This is fun. We're in a good moment now.
Yeah, a
loved
palate
it.
cleanser is needed for something that's very tense.
I'd also like to mention I put Bullsack next to a bullet that was threatening to go up and attack the village, a evil altar of a dark god, and the remnants of a war camp that definitely had been pillaging and killing lots of people.
That remnants was desecrated land, wasn't it?
It was
straight up evil.
desecrated
Right.
land.
It was so evil that the land itself was bad.
I think I refused to go in there as Silas.
So far, you've all accomplished so many acts of small bits of heroism along the way. There have been big ones, but you all have just established. This is a very good party
Yeah.
in both meanings of the word.
Which is weird because I'm not supposed to be good, but my moral compass is dictated by L's. So if L went evil,
If L
Victoria's
died,
father
where would your
says,
compass go?
"I enjoy mispronouncing his name." To that I say, "Thank you so much. You're the best."
I do have it written and shoved. Okay, so my player binder, my player binder does have little sections to put spell cards into, and one of them just. It says Bullsack in it. It doesn't have anything else going on. It just says Bullsack by itself in my spell sheet.
Did we get you, Jake?
I
Oh, you
actually
piggyback-
was
you
gonna
piggybacked off. My
Amanda.
apologies.
So
Yes.
in her spirit, wherever she is, she's not dead. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, no! I have so many plans for Gwynwyn.
So yeah, she's probably not gonna last too long.
True. That's
I
true.
don't. So I have two answers, so I don't want to spend too long on either of them. But I think one of the first moments where you had basically without saying "shut up and listen" to this campaign, said "shut up and listen" was when you start up a battle with the wherever the bullet mini is on this table.
Okay.
You hit me for 40 something damage.
Oh yeah.
That was one of those
It was
moments.
Any
like
other else,
a
and this
crit
table
or
would have gone
something?
straight down.
Yeah, it was an absolutely absurd hit, and the fact that you stood past it. Once I counted the damage, I assumed you were down.
I was terrified. Silas was terrified, but like literally sitting there, I was like, "What do I do now?" I wanted to run. Like I was like, we're gonna die here. And that was to me like one of these moments where like you actually have to plug into like this fight, this thing. This is like, oh, I'm dying, and like one of those moments where you get close to dying. Those are my oddly enough
You
favorite.
can't
times.
coast to level 20.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that, making it hard. Like
Especially as a marshal.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I would cry if any of my PCs died, but if I don't get close, I will still cry too. I'm
Yeah.
hard to please.
Your threat assessment
Usually
as
pretty
a wizard versus as a marshal is so different because if you are a caster, there's this ability to say, okay, like I can cast these area of effect spells. I can cast shatter and hit like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
But if you're a marshal, you say, I've got 2 attacks and they both go at this singular guy. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. You're in a difficult position because I know you've played. Haven't you played
I'm
a lot
a
of casters?
cleric main. No, I
Okay.
only play casters. This is me
Yeah.
branching out, and I'm like, where do I position myself? How do I hit more than one person? I can't. How do I make this impactful?
Right. And I think that's that weird place where as a spellcaster versus a marshal, we kind of move like this where we at certain levels surpass each other
Yeah,
in
it's-
abilities.
It,
Because I never wanted to go against your former character, a fighter paladin, because I was a bard, and if I had the 9th level spells, I still felt weird going against you because I knew that there was an actual chance that you could completely destroy me.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird because there's like those plateau moments for like a caster versus a marshal, depending on what kind of marshal and what kind of caster. So typically, for me, it seems like casters start out very potent,
Yes.
very early. In the middle is where the marshals kind of shine, depending on the marshal. If you're a paladin, you're just
Paladins, I'm
you're
still
just
convinced
destroying
constantly.
constantly. Yeah.
I want to
Um,
argue.
Oh no!
I
Okay.
want to argue. As an early level spellcaster, which I know you've played now, I know you've had that. I've done it twice now where I've been a low level, mainly spellcaster for a long time. And it is so hard, the resource management, because
Yeah.
a lot of your cantrips are save or suck, which in D&D means if they make their
Firebolt.
right, if they pass their save, you do no damage, you do no effect.
You waste
A lot
your
of
action.
a lot of higher level spells is like if you make your save, so if it's like a DC 15 Constitution saving throw and your enemy rolls a 16, nothing I do will do anything. And then you get higher levels and it's like, okay, now it'll do half damage. But at a low level, you have like 2 spell slots, no recovery, and you just do that. And once it fails, it's like, oh, I cast a 1d4 of damage, which even a martial character is not going to be doing.
So I think we'll have to save the character fights for a future battles here.
Right. But I wanted to say, again, I want to fight Konner here for a minute and say that I think that low level casters feel a lot weaker.
Sure. I think casters pick up at level
They
5.
are
I can see it.
I'll give you that. They are glass cannons because they can blow all their spell slots in a single, like almost a single round, essentially.
I mean, have you seen what L can do?
And they can take out if the battle is balanced correctly. Whatever the big bad is, pretty quickly. But then they're kind of shit out of luck. Whereas with marshals, yes, but as a marshal at level 1 or level 2, you have one swing. It's either a D6, a D8. Maybe you have a great sword if you started out with one. It's not very high damage.
But
Whereas
I
you can
have-
cast a level 1 spell that does you roll 3 dice.
But
Pretty good.
But I have 2 of those, and you can attack every turn.
That's true.
I want to take a moment and say, hi, Mom and Dad. They just came in to check in on their dear puppy. They're
I
off
will
on
never let
vacation.
her
I hope you guys are
Oh,
having a wonderful time.
Daisy loves Jake. It's fine. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
she's
it.
miserable. Clearly.
Yeah, she's clearly upset. This is a low-key torture. So we talked a little bit about our dear goblin friend, but I'm kind of curious, kind of in that same vein of things. Over the course of this adventure, is there an NPC that has stuck out? It doesn't have to be an ally, but something that you've personally resonated with you in some way.
Easily.
Oh, okay.
So we had this problem in our last campaign.
What's
I'm not
his
gonna
name?
get too
Excellent.
deep too
I
into it,
love
but
him. I just can't remember his name.
oh lordy.
Get you in here.
Sorry about that. I'm
You're
holding
okay.
a dog. I
He's
can't
got a
be
baby.
close. Adopting an NPC is something that happens, I think, in every kind of D&D campaign.
Oh, do you mean me?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
The natural, like, you're coming with us, we're now friends. That is my drive. Grabbing Yosef, becoming an actual attachment to the party. Like, going fishing with Yosef, that is a characterization that, like, I am plugging in. I love this NPC.
I feel guilty.
So good. good to
Straight
hear.
I feel so guilty.
Victoria's father
Are you about
says
to say
Jared.
Yosef? Did I steal Yosef?
Jared. Okay, listen. Okay, I feel guilty.
Yosef is mine.
Because I took Sista's pants shopping because her mom wanted her to wear a dress, but she wore pants instead to a
I think we
ball
should clarify.
with dinner.
Because we just jumped a little bit further, I think, than the audience is aware
Sorry.
of. Last campaign, you had an NPC who before joining the party, you took pants shopping.
I took pants shopping because her parents wanted her to wear
Elle's
dresses.
mother.
Right, Elle's mother. But I had these moments with this other NPC, and I am having this moment where I'm so excited that people are attached to Yosef, but as is Meanie, I haven't had any moments with. And so,
Yeah.
As is Meanie, I'm like, okay, as Victoria, I love Yosef. This is great. As is Meanie, I'm like, I'm slightly better than driving the cart than you almost, even though we're both really bad at it. So
Amanda voted for Adon.
I
It's
love
the voice.
Adon.
It's the voice and what it does to Paula.
Adon is one of our, if you haven't been keeping up with Stories to D4, Adon Castillo is a mercenary our party is working alongside on occasion, who, the method he speaks has caused Kalila to burst into giggles every time. And like, I don't really understand it, to be honest. I just think the way I talk is kind of natural.
Poor Adon.
It's rough.
And I do like the comment that I saw saying Jared.
Yes. You have to love
Playing a villain.
Yeah.
Kalila gets so passionately angry.
She wants to murder him.
Connor, do you need help figuring out a name?
I was just as like a secondary. I think it was the bar owner of the Coppersbeck bar. He was probably one of my favorite.
Oh.
The guy that gave me the greasy sandwich.
Oh.
I can't remember his name
gosh.
for the life of me. It's in my notes, but it's in a different
It was
notebook.
Marl.
It
it
was.
Marl?
It was
'Cause there's
Marl.
Marl's wife.
Yeah.
And yeah, there were two people with very similar
Yeah.
names because they were intentionally supposed to confuse
Marl.
each other.
Yeah.
But yes, Marl.
Marl.
Marl is
I
actually a
love Marl.
reference to Baldur's Gate. Marl in Baldur's Gate 1 is a drunkard who attacks you in a bar. Most players end up exploding him. You tell him, Marl.
Poor Marl.
Yeah, I love Marl. But I'm gonna hop on that Jared train because
Thank you.
love Jared.
Yes.
You have
That's
to
three
love-
votes for Jared.
3 votes for
You have to
Jared,
kill.
and since Chloe's not here to defend the position that Jared is evil, I guess Jared wins the popularity contest.
Okay.
DM, can I have a quick ask? If we lose a Lilia, can we have Jared as a replacement?
No.
Force Clella to play Jared?
Yeah.
I would never.
Under no circumstances would that work. But okay.
It would work.
We went to
It would work.
in the instance at the end of last session, you all went into an alleyway while escorting that noblewoman, and I guess technically speaking, you went to Jared's as he came out of one of the buildings there. Amanda made an excellent point there.
So
Luis?
the thing about villains, again, is that they're counter to your objective, and it doesn't matter how big the objective is. So maybe you want to go to the grocery store to get like a loaf of bread, and there's somebody blocking you either from like taking
Bread
your turn,
bandits.
Margaret.
or somebody who's, again, even the smallest thing, somebody who's stalking the bread aisle, and they've completely blocked off your honey wheat bread, and they are not moving for anybody because I have to restock this section. They're not actually
Is
a
that
villain.
personal
No.
experience?
Very oddly
This is
specific.
so
Okay,
detailed.
it does sound very detailed, but my point is, again, I want to use bread as an example because it's not something that really is like that intense for us. But it doesn't matter how far you are in your journey, these villains you can like argue back and forth with and kind of like quip and say like, oh, you're kind of sassy, like I'll be sassy back. I really like that dynamic as a player.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Clella have this with a villain because I've had it before. We've all kind of had these little experiences where like,
Oh, we'll get another Yi, don't worry.
okay, but Bard villains, if you haven't done them before, if you're a DM, run a Bard villain at some point.
Players will love you.
Players
So-
will hate you.
I will never
We're on the
forget.
topic of villains.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something a little bit less intelligent, but still certainly adversarial.
Okay.
Is there a monster? This one's going kind of Ghosts of Adventure's future on you. Is there a monster that you're interested in facing?
I've
Either
asked
you, the
one.
player, or that your PCs want to fight?
Interested in facing.
I have asked for one for months
Oh no! How
I'm-
have I failed you?
because it's not really in the setting we're at. So I'm going to give you a little bit of. Is she snoring?
She's snoring.
That was a loud snore too. Oh man, she's happy by the way.
Oh.
Clearly.
Okay, I need to breathe. So
What were you saying, Jake?
you only find these in caves, so I'm not sure we'll ever see one, but I've always wanted to fight, is it the Roper? I can never say the name right.
The Roper. I actually procured. I have the miniatures now.
Because I've asked so many times. There's stalagmite, stalactite, doesn't matter, it's gonna kill you. That's what I want in my life. Why? I don't know.
I'd love to see that. We actually do have also from Dwarven Forge some cave terrain that I absolutely love to break out when given the chance.
That was my okay. Yeah.
Did I steal your monster? There's no way.
No. You didn't steal my monster. You stole my difficultness. Fight. Okay. Monsters. Mine's ambiguous. I like organized groups.
Okay.
I like, again, there's another mercenary band. There's Jared and his people.
I was gonna say, you're
Like
currently
the
in the fight
cultists,
against one of those.
Right. And again, across levels, I love this because however strong you get, there will be people counter to your ideals, and fighting against them is so much fun because there's these quips, there's these little pieces of banter, and there's this feeling of, as a player, if you really like launch yourself into D&D, fighting for what you feel is right is so fun. Because you're
I want an inspiring speech from y'all.
I'm justified in what I'm doing. I know that I'm right and I'm on the correct path. And getting to fight against somebody whenever you have that feeling feels so good. So I like again, not a great answer, but I like fighting against organizations, whether they're more formalized or informal.
I'm absolutely okay with a more general answer like that.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Connor?
We've been fighting a lot of undead.
Oh yeah.
Let's fight a lich. Fuck it.
Where are we gonna find a lich at this hour?
I think it would be fun.
Please
We would
don't say
die,
that.
but it'd be fun.
They're only. I want to say there's one of the lich stat blocks somewhere in the high teens.
Yeah.
I'd be into this.
I will
We would
admit
not.
that I've built more than one PC out with the intent of becoming a lich.
More
Sometimes you
than
just want to
one?
do some really dark magic.
Yeah.
We have another response from a dear friend. Amanda mentions that Gwynwyn wants to fight monsters to be used for various potion ingredients. This is something that my table generally has seemed to really enjoy.
I feel
Fighting
like we fight-
harvestable creatures, dragon scale.
We fight like humans all the time, though.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, and generally speaking, desecrating human corpses,
You're not,
not
a
great.
necromancer yet, right?
Okay, listen.
No.
Then you'll have
I did
harvest
not want
cards.
to start something.
This is a very long conversation into what I consider like building wizards as.
Oh my god.
So I won't get into it, but no, this is not my necromancer build. If that explains anything about who his meanie is,
Yeah, I know.
this is not my necromancer.
You know,
Scared.
I have a couple more things here, but I want to make sure that we just because questions we could bump away. There's something that we can only do tonight that I'd love to do. Would you mind if we took a quick pause on the questions and, in the spirit of the holidays, rolled some dice?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We all have.
Roll my holiday
We have a
dice.
couple of heroes that have just reached level 5 or are about to reach it during the next session. And since all of you are going to be here, we've got a dice tray. Connor, if you can go ahead and grab that. I believe that you've already pulled out your dice. We'll go ahead.
I tried.
We can let Jake wait because Jake has little Daisy here.
I tried grabbing my dice. I did. There was just more important things.
So, Victoria, would you like to go ahead and roll your hit dice first? First, tell us what level, what class are you taking a level in as this meeting?
Level 5 Abjuration Wizard.
All right, keeping up to wizard, giving you access to 3rd level spells and 3rd level arcane recovery.
Spicy.
Wow.
Nice.
I got a 6 and a 1, so a 6.
So that means you got maximum hit points.
Yeah.
So 6 plus your con, which is probably 2
2.
or 3. Oh, it's 2.
Plus 2.
Perfect. That's a huge chunk. That's a
Yep.
whole sword swing extra.
And plus a little bit for that arcane ward.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's double level.
Yes.
Maybe. So it's gonna be 15 if it's double level.
And
15 points
honestly,
of health
like,
there.
That is more than that roll there. That arcane ward is crazy.
Okay. Again, I want to get into some of my opinions on subclasses, but so far,
I'm trying to bait them out of you. Come on.
okay, so far in non-spell stuff, Abjuration.
Abjuration's pretty solid.
Abjuration.
Divination is very famous for having the incredibly powerful
Best.
portent ability. War Mage has some very interesting things using spell surges, but I do think Abjuration's
I
up there.
think Abjuration is the close as you can get to face tank things as a wizard.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I
'Cause
want Konner.
I want to see an Abjuration / Eldritch Knight one day.
That
I'm
would
gonna
be
have almost
bonkers, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have almost 50 health if you include my ward as a wizard at level 5 because
That's-
that
yeah,
ward
that's
it's not gonna be
crazy.
maybe closer to the low 40s, but again, adding all those numbers
Should
together.
throw a bullet at her.
Right? No,
Yes,
I'm
she
still
would live is the sad part.
I'm
Now-
still a wizard.
Connor, do you want us to do your level up now, or should we have you save for last?
Let's do Jake.
Yeah.
Jake,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
need some help finding D10s because I
Okay,
haven't.
someone
had
grab
hands
him a
in bit.
D10.
Do you want to use yours or mine?
Let's use mine. They're bad luck.
These ones?
Yeah.
No.
Now, Jake, Silas he's a 4th level fighter right now. Are you continuing down that trail?
I mean, I very strongly considered Artificer, but I don't have the intelligence for it.
You are quite dumb.
Do you have a preference?
Anything that looks pretty, which I guess, let's be honest.
Ooh, that is a very nice die.
It's
Now,
actually.
I'm hoping he gets a really big number.
I would love a big number. At one point, Silas
any
had I think I'm 5 HP from the
Yeah,
maximum
just
health I could have.
There we go.
Super mad I'm not maximum health, but
You want to
you'll
roll
never.
another one?
Yeah, let's throw a metal one in here. It's gonna make a fun sound. That's what I like the most.
Okay,
There you go, Max.
Okay.
that is a 10.
Ten.
Watch me roll
All
two
right.
ones.
So for Silas, you roll that maximum hit dice. You also have a +5
job
to
on
your
that.
Constitution,
Yeah, that's 15 HP. plus
and
Silas.
I don't believe you have any other bonuses. So I think it's just 15.
Still, that's
Just
70.
15.
I am a level 5 character with 70 HP. That's more than I think Ibra had almost at the very end of our campaign.
Yes, Ibra ended at I think 10. Well, if you pre-ascension Ibra was just under 100.
Right, so I was
Exactly.
gonna say Eber leveling up. I don't think our wizard last campaign hit over 100.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ibra obtained other
Right, Clolla.
means of getting Clolla's character Ibra obtained health through other means.
I
Yeah.
don't really care
Now,
about
both
the
of you
HP.
took the original class that you've been leveling in. Connor, I believe you said that you're doing something slightly different in light of recent events.
Yeah, I'm gonna multi-class because that's my stick, and I'm gonna be doing it in Warlock.
All right. As your first level in Warlock, now it's not your first level overall, so you do still have to roll 2d8, taking the highest.
She's giving
Come
me
on,
a
big
buck.
money, big money, big money.
5.
5.
Not
That's
bad.
absolutely fine.
Yeah, +4 to con really helps though.
Yeah.
And do you want to share what subclass you're playing?
Please.
Do we have that?
You don't
We already know probably.
We? I don't know anything.
The ether.
The ethers. Oh, I will tell you this.
Guesses.
Chat has talked about it in the past.
What did they said?
I'm not in chat. I don't
So-
get to see this.
You're not. You don't come in chat. You don't always join us for footnotes. I've been here every week.
Yeah, that's kind of fair.
Now, if you, I'm actually kind of interested, Connor. You've considered some. You want to talk to us about some of the ones you've considered while doing this process?
Yes, yeah. I definitely considered the Archfey, I think. Or
Yes.
no, the
You talked about
Archfey.
Fae for a while.
Archfey, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought
And
you
then
picked Archfey.
I thought Demon for a little while too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fiend
with
is the
you.
best.
I landed on Hexblade. That's
You
what I'm gonna
landed?
multi-class into Hexblade.
I was gonna guess.
That was my last one.
Okay.
Getting Hexblade.
I am so mad. I thought you would go with like the fishy one first.
Oh yeah.
No, not a single. I have talked to almost I think our whole cast. I haven't heard anybody guessing Hexblade.
The
Then
genie.
you never
No.
talked to me because he took the ruby that makes it so his spellcasting focus is his dagger. So you never talked to me because he
apologize.
telegraphed.
I did a
Would not
little,
have gone.
but
He telegraphed. It was
but
Never come.
I did go back and review a little bit, and the genie sounds like a really fun warlock to
Oh,
play
yeah.
as well.
It
I
absolutely
thought you
does.
started the genie
so
warlock
fun.
at one point.
The
I was
only-
like, this is crazy. What's he doing?
The only reason one of the reasons I think that Genie didn't end up happening was that we had discussed a little bit where your powers were coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we'd have to change the flavor some.
I just like the idea of like giving someone a ring and I can just jump into it and they can just take me somewhere.
Now, I don't-
Just chill.
I don't recall if you need to wait until I think it's level 2 once you've received your Pact of the Blade feature. But
Third level.
once you've received that ability, I think that's what lets you conjure and dismiss your weapon.
Yeah.
Once you have that ability, it will be impossible for you to not have a spellcasting focus.
Yeah.
Except unless someone destroys your weapon, which is possible.
Right.
Is it an action after that to get it back?
It's a 1 hour ritual, I think, to get it back or
Oh,
something.
I
Yeah.
thought it was an action. That's actually
And the big thing
it's
is-
a little bit easier to work
The
with.
only way that I can think of to handle that would be someone using so they have to disarm you first, and then using disintegrate, which is a 6th level spell or higher, to destroy that. And I don't think you'd be upset by someone both disarming you and using absurdly
Yeah.
high level magic.
I would just be very impressed, actually.
Right.
Right, because they didn't disintegrate you. They
No.
disintegrated the weapon, which
Right.
is
Right.
way more favorable.
Disintegrating you is a
An
problem.
option.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm happy. So two of us with Max, two of y'all with Max, and then Konner really just, someone has to be in the back pack, to be honest.
Barely over average.
I don't know. We still haven't seen Gwenny and Lilia's rolls yet.
I do not believe so. Amanda and Clella, once you see this, we're actually going to be having you roll in our Discord. We'll talk about it a little bit in the public-facing Discord as well. But I can't wait to hear about what our other players are doing. Amanda, if you'd like, in chat, you can let us know what is the 5th level that you're going to be taking as Gwynwyn. Gosh, I can't wait to see. You're suddenly a frontline capable person.
Yeah, I can get in there for a little bit.
For a little bit.
For a little bit.
You're a little squishy.
A little bit, yeah.
Is this going to be anything like the time you tried getting in there with that troll?
I would consider me now kind of moving into that flex role where I can kind of
You're
do
in the middle. You can go where you need.
In a
Yeah,
group of 5,
exactly.
it's really good.
Yeah.
You have Gwynwyn is an excellent ranged/support.
Right.
You've got I would say, an absurdly good tank, especially with that extra 10 hit points, 15 hit points. You're going to be quite a. Do you hear Jazz?
Yeah, she's mad.
One.
Oh my gosh, did you hear that?
1 sec. Come here.
She's at the door, angry, screaming. This is the confidence of a cat saying,
Coco,
no,
come back.
I want you to know I'm mad.
Guys, I'm sure, I know, I should be happy. At 5th level, I get 3rd level spells. However, I don't get to use my ward to protect other people until level 6.
Oh, yeah.
Not until level 6.
Level 6, that as your reaction will actually be, no offense, as a DM, I would be terrified.
As a
Things like
reaction,
that's hard to deal with.
as a reaction, I say,
Seem worried, though.
I put my ward in front of you and it takes damage until it's gone and then you take the rest.
Yeah.
It's a floating wall of force, or a mode of force that is able to protect folks. It's going to be very powerful.
Yeah.
I think she finally wants down.
Okay, she's allowed to be down, although Jazz is going to want to leave if Daisy's down.
No.
Here, let me get her out of here.
You do that.
I have another question for y'all. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yes?
Unless you had anything you needed me to, unless anyone else had anything else?
Oh, no. No.
I
The word
finally
else is
have-
no longer a word to me.
Extra attack is the only thing I want to say out loud.
Extra attack.
extra.
2 swings.
Literally. As much as I missed, though, we'll see if that's relevant.
I think we all saw Clella jump up and down yelling extra attack last.
Oh, yeah, she's getting
I
one too,
do.
doesn't she?
You rarely attack though. You just hug people.
I do kind of feel like that sometimes,
Yeah.
but I love it.
You can now
It's the most
you can
important thing.
shove or grapple and swing your hammer on the same turn now.
Oh, yeah. Give
'Cause
them a
it's-
hug, then smack.
Every time you attack, you can replace that. Victoria seems really excited for me to ask this, so I'll go ahead and mention: is there of this whole campaign, what was the most difficult fight? Now, this could be, I really thought I was going to die, or just the mechanics were very hard. But something that jumps out to you is a solid peak on the mountain of difficulty you've had so far.
I have a bad answer.
Mine's a bad answer, but I'm excited about it.
Okay.
Connie, do you have a good
Okay.
answer?
I have a mediocre answer.
Oh wow!
Great.
I'm really working with a full house here.
Yeah.
No, honestly, probably the first painting fight I thought was pretty difficult because we're having to deal with people constantly being bewitched or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
by
I think
it.
that was the most times I've
And-
heard non-lethal or something.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
clever choice. I didn't even consider
Yeah,
that.
I think
And
that was very difficult to
If you
deal
think
with.
if you think about it too, we were trying not to hurt anybody,
Exactly.
and we didn't know fully what was happening yet. We had no context, so we didn't know if like they were doing the right thing, or we were doing the right
Right.
thing, or we were even being controlled.
Also,
Exactly.
like,
We just
what's
saw
gonna
a friend die, too.
what's gonna result of us like bonking guards and stuff? you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Are we going to prison?
Are we going to jail? Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I thought that was hard, especially being what were we level
Three?
2,
Two or three,
I don't remember
yeah.
what level it was, but it was hard.
It was two.
It's very
It was
difficult.
super early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been. I believe you would have been second level because I think that's session 4. That point. It's very, very early. Rest in peace, Oswald. And don't you dare pour one out for Oswald in this room.
I was actually tempted for it.
So are we just in agreement that it's the first painting?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I was so confused. Victoria had so much conviction.
No,
Yeah.
I agree
No,
with
we
Connor.
agree. He's
Mine's
great
different.
Answer. Wrong answer, but great answer.
As I said,
Amanda says
whatever.
this current fight right now is actually with the fact that with L's down and Iris has to be protected.
I'm not convinced that Iris needs protecting is my main thing. I think this is actually targeted somewhere else.
Okay.
I don't think that if
I
they
think
were
I know
going
what
after
you're gonna
Iris,
say.
they would have moved differently, I think.
I think I do, but you
Okay.
can go ahead and say it if you
I'll
want.
say it. The Orwin fight.
What?
In the cave.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay.
Here's my reasoning. It's not the most technically difficult fight we've had. It's not the closest we've come to defeat. It was the fight that tested whether or not we as a party could actually work together. You had to trust us for you to cast things like web and us to actually do damage.
Web as a spell you've used it on these two big occasions, this most recent session and the Orwin fight. And I have to say, if I didn't give you a bottle cap in that session, I was wrong. It was an absolutely perfect play.
I love
Without
that.
it, that would have been 4 skeletons up on your
Right.
party's
Oh,
grill.
for
Oh,
sure.
5.
This
I
is
thought.
not the most technically difficult fight. We've had more technically difficult, but it was the first fight, and I think we are not okay. My opinion, all my party, feel free to just get mad at me for this. I don't think we work together yet very well, but it was the first fight where we were really working together as a party, and I
Yes.
think we're still figuring that out. But it was that fight that was going so bad for us. Because you weren't hitting, I was doing nothing. Elle was like jumping on walls.
Stop. Was that the time I couldn't roll above a 5?
2 sessions in a row, you can roll above a 5.
I think it was 2.5. There was an
And-
entire one where I almost I bought new dice. I literally bought
He
new
actually
dice,
went out and purchased
Yeah.
new dice.
which
It
they're
was-
still failing me. I'm just throwing them out
Again,
there.
it was not the most technically difficult fight. We have hit more that I think are difficult, but as a party, I think it was the most challenging fight because we're still new to each other. I don't know you guys.
Trying to figure out what role you're supposed to
Yeah.
be in that fight was hard. I saw a group of skeletons or zombies or whatever it was, and I was like, web. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Web.
I've done my
And-
part.
Yeah, and absolutely. You took
Yeah.
them out. They had
Yeah.
no effect on the rest of combat at that point.
And I was in such an awkward spot in my spells where, okay, I'm doing something weird with my wizard. I'm trying something new. I'm kind of going out there. I'm going to have a few what I'd call dead levels where I'm trying to get to. And it was like, I literally popped over and started stabbing somebody because I didn't know what to do anymore.
We have some great points from chat I want to go over here. Chubis, our darling moderator, says, just use Iris as a damage spun. Every bit of wasted enemy damage is good. I like
Isn't
the way
that
you
what
think.
L is for?
Hey, L went down, and that damage could have gone to Silas. And
That
honestly,
would-
No,
Silas
honestly.
is the fan favorite.
That would be a really funny feature for a class. Like maybe it's like a subclass like coward, and you just use human meat shields.
Okay, no, that's a thing. I think it's the enchantment subclass of wizard. It's like, no, you don't hit me, you hit him.
Oh really?
Because I've looked at that subclass. I'll talk to
in
you
a
I need to take a
slightly
look at
in a
that.
slightly more joking, less joking way, ECAT Texas says use web on the guy running off with L.
I could break that concentration. And
Concentration.
cast
You could. You just would have to deal with the shambling undead heading this way.
The thing is also, what is the range of web? Is that going to hit more than just him?
The 20-foot cube, I believe we determined
it.
last
20-foot
time.
cube, 60-foot range, I believe.
Okay, so maybe if he got a little bit away, that would actually be a pretty good move.
Oh, you mean from you?
Oh,
It's a-
yeah, don't hit me with
It's a
that,
dex
please.
save. You can pass it.
I'm an elephant. I don't have dexterity.
You can break the restraint with the strength check.
Okay, that's kind of fair.
Now I have another question here listed, but there was something in particular that I think Victoria was very excited to do here tonight. If you all are still interested,
Oh, yeah.
we were talking about doing a criminal profile.
Will you
on
grab
the
my notebook?
feature. I can grab your notes, absolutely.
I don't like how you smiled for that.
Okay, so I wanted to do a crime profile, like an FBI criminal profile
Yeah.
of the
This is for you,
person who is currently trying
Okay.
to do all the murder and the
Be
painting
cursed
things.
if I open that thing.
I will. The rest of this will all be handled by Victoria because I know too much.
Okay, so some of the things we want to discuss is who we think they are, as in, what do we think they look like? What is their age range? What may be possible jobs? What may be like the motivation behind it? So, for example, we were gonna say maybe something I can say is that we know so far everybody involved has been some kind of artist, a painter, a sculptor, an architect. Everybody we know of has been involved in the arts in some way that is public.
Mm-hmm.
because somebody who owns the lower prism, which we don't know yet, because here's the thing, right? Because we've got the guy, in our knowledge, the guy who owned the lower prism,
The prison back in Coppersback.
right? The person back in Coppersback where the first murder was. And the second one was the lady who built the bridge that was scrapped and turned into a prison. Both of these,
She also, as a reminder, was a sculptor.
right, but both of these could have been examples of somebody who has a failed project, in my opinion. But we can pull back from there. I want to pull back a little bit.
I think we're looking for white male, ages 30 to 40 probably
almost said
average
the-
height, single, not married, no children,
We know
kind of a loner.
we know he's a medium creature because we've seen through his eyes.
Tell me more. What do his freckles look like?
We know he's a medium creature.
Or she. Let's not get sexist.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
We know that they are a medium creature because
It's Silas, says Chuba.
it could be. Silas is a
Thanks.
medium creature. 8 foot tall, medium.
Where were you during the Festival of Coppersback?
And you know what?
You were there, weren't you?
I went to the bathroom.
You were
didn't
seen
see
at the
me.
Prime act.
You were seen there.
You were there.
You didn't see me the entire time.
So we're
Yeah,
weird.
no,
Modify memory is a hell of a spell.
Yeah.
So
But you know what? People get it at like 5th level magic.
we know they're a medium creature based off of what we have seen because disguise self doesn't actually change your personal height from your vantage point. It just is a layer you put over yourself plus or minus a foot. So we can assume generally that they are a medium-sized creature. We could possibly also assume that they have some magic ability because of what happened where they snuck into a location. Two of them that we can think of because we also think that they knew, or the person they were playing knew, the guy at the low prism.
I am not convinced that the spell they used to impersonate the sculptor, the lady she knew, she said, I knew him. He didn't show up to meetings for a while. He was a friend of hers.
Yes.
Not convinced
Yes, she
this guy's
claimed he
spell-
was Jaya.
Jaya. I'm not convinced that the spell would have been something like disguise self. I'm not entirely sure it would have been something like a player would say this is that spell. It almost felt more like a magical effect, but I don't know. Like
What if
resculpting
it's-
your face.
Just something they can do.
Exactly. I think it's like
That's a
resculpting, like a
furball.
changeling.
What if they're a changeling?
Changeling or a furbolg, because furbolgs also have the innate ability to cast disguise self once per long rest. Because they're a 7-foot tall creature that can make themselves look like a regular humanoid.
Good for them. So
What about, dragons? There are dragons that can become humans, maybe look like other people. It's
But let's
possible.
be logical.
It's true, metallic dragons, typically
Right.
older but sometimes younger metallic dragons, can polymorph into various creatures.
we saw
But-
that on the boat right over.
If we're going to stay on the train of alignment, a metallic dragon doesn't make sense. Why would they be killing somebody? They're typically good aligned.
Yeah, but good people can have, motives that are bad.
Well,
it
why
could
would
be
they
for the
kill
good.
art majors?
Well, let's say that the
Okay, does anyone need a reason?
Yes.
I
Why
was
would you
an
kill
art
an art
major.
major?
No, I was not an art major.
Don't
So
clip that.
Gosh. Okay,
Clip
so
it. Clip it
flip
now.
side, like I'm actually gonna force this conversation into motive. Why would you kill an art major?
Right, but we don't know anything about the person yet. We only know that they're probably a humanoid, medium-sized creature.
I would
I
like
think
to,
that we can't know anything
With-
about
at this point, I would like to mention something. The party has learned very little about the personalities and goings-on of the individual people who have been slain.
Right.
That might be our first.
That might be something to consider.
first
Right.
look.
I mean, it seemed like two of them were in a group together, and they definitely referenced the university.
You do also know that
Okay.
Ugarod worked at the Low Prism,
Right?
which is a a smaller shop than the King's Prism, but are owned both by the same organization.
And the university is controlled by the crown. Everybody involved is an artist with some tie to the crown so far that we know of, because we don't know enough because we didn't ask enough questions of our vigilante friends.
I don't think they would have had the
They're
answers,
also-
though. I think we're in the right place with Iris. Iris is the one that
No.
seems like the next connection to me.
If there are 8 murders, which I think there's actually 10, they know of 8, we know of 2. They probably have enough information to know the name of the person and their occupation at bare minimum, because that information is public in this city like else.
I don't think so. They have all this information. They are vigilantes. There is literally nothing stopping them from saving the day,
They didn't-
except for the chance to actually save
As
it.
a reminder,
They don't know who's next.
people don't. It is so you've got some things correct and some things incorrect, just based on public knowledge that I'd like to clarify.
We have no prize. We're just arguing.
You
with each
know,
other.
You're
because
fighting.
Christine Cooper, that the only a single murder is known to the public, that of Halatisa
right.
Dumir. Those people who went to got missing that you learned about from the vigilantes, no one knows about that.
Right, because remember, Iris said that the guards are doing nothing, and this person can impersonate people. Is this person either a guard or able to impersonate guards or a guard captain long enough to keep the trail cold on the murders? Like, I'm the guard captain, so I'll take care of the murder spree. You guys deal with smaller crime. I'll do the investigation, but you're actually the evil guy? That's possible.
We need a
That's-
cork board and some red string.
Again.
I was about to say, I feel like we
Again.
have to like keep track of all this
Hang on.
because we get pretty deep into this rabbit
No,
hole.
I'm gonna pull out the PHB, and I know.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Get in the rule book.
Okay, look. I actually
ready.
have a reason for this. So, again, we all understand here we're all friends. Not every NPC is literally a player stat block.
Correct.
But-
most of them are commoners.
Most of them are commoners, but maybe if you're a particular kind of DM, you may create NPCs, especially evil
Yeah.
NPCs that are like a little bit woo-woo. So
The painter has a stat block.
at first level, a full caster has 2 first level spell slots. Second and third level, they have 3. Fourth level, they have 4. So if you're 4th level and above, that's the highest you can get your number of first level spell slots before you start getting into things like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which means you have a limited cast of a 1 hour long disguise spell.
And so this is where I think we can run into a little bit of a
But
wall.
I don't want to sit here and just play the numbers game, because I know
Exactly.
that's not a fair thing to do in Dungeons and Dragons. The DM is DM fiat. There's decisions you can make. I understand, I've DM'd before. You have to do things that may not make perfect sense according to the PHB, which is designed for players building characters. Caveat there.
I
It's
think
over.
it's also hard to kind of quantify, I think, the number of spells or things like that. I think we can get caught up on some things like
Right.
how many spells I can cast, things like that. Like, we sometimes put a lot of thought in there where we're like,
An hour.
there's a hat that lets you cast disguise spell itself once a day.
At
There
will,
are
actually.
items. At
And-
will, ha!
And a warlock invocation.
Yeah.
Mask of Many Faces, I believe.
It's that. It's like something many faces.
Yeah.
There are so many things in D&D that gives a DM a chance to tell a story.
Right.
I think as players, we don't. He had a point. We don't know enough of the story. Like,
What
we
if-
could sit here grasping at straws.
Connor?
What if it's a teacher? That's why they know all these people that are into art.
See, I was wondering something like that too. What if it was someone at the university? Like, the teacher is a good.
Because I don't see how I don't know.
Well-
It's just, and they've had so many murders all over, as like else, all the way down to Copper's back.
These are all super passionate murders too.
But-
Someone intimately involved.
But again, we have made this argument time and again. I want to say, Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss, what if this is a woman who is pretending to be a man to kill other men?
That's totally fine, but
mean,
they
I-
also killed the woman.
They did kill a woman.
Solve my mystery.
But,
I'm so mad right now. It's been Sophia. all
Triple G,
along.
Again.
how did you know?
Hey, my dear friends on Footnotes, if you're a subscriber on our channel and you're not, you can use Twitch Prime to do it for free once a month. You can
Yes.
go in there and click the button.
And
we do
if
have
you don't
a-
have Twitch Prime, but you really like us, it's the holidays and get in the spirit.
Nope, that's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say because you get a girl boss emote. So
The
See
girl
it
bosses have
flashing.
it.
The girl bosses are in chat.
I don't think it's a girl boss. I think Konner was closer with the teacher.
I agree, but I wanted to put in the thought is we know this is likely a medium-sized creature, humanoid, with either some amount of magical ability or the funds to purchase magical items. May or may not be a girl boss. I think girl boss.
Victoria, I'm bad at memory and I don't take notes. Can you remind me of something the sculptor lady said? Whenever we were asking her questions, she was kind of alluding to, like, it shouldn't have been a problem. Submitting this shouldn't have been. And then, like, had that no realization.
My application was rejected. I wanted to help the crown. No one should have known. 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 What did she do, or was she something that else would look down on?
I kind of have a weird hair right here to talk on. I think a lot of this has been, where's my songbird?
Right, the original question.
I think that, let's say it has something to do with the university. There was a student that was less loved than others.
Don't you look at me. What do you want?
The songbird's less important than we've been making it out to be, because the next question on the next murder scene was, everyone will know who you are.
I think it's stolen.
The songbird doesn't matter because...
I'm sorry. What you are.
Yeah.
What you are. Sorry.
Okay,
Everyone know what you are. But here's the thing, right? If the songbird were the most important part of this, and across the murders, we would have seen more references to the songbird. However, we didn't. That was against one particular person, which was the orc selling paint to the low prism. It wasn't against the woman.
I know. I have a point with that, though. The point was, where is my songbird? The her was like, they'll know what you are.
Yeah.
I think the killer was jaded by artists through the work of plagiarism. This is my idea. He's been stolen from by everyone. Let's say he was not charismatic, like that little nerd in the back. Everyone took his work. Like, she submitted his assignment as the bridge idea.
Oh.
That's why she was saying, no. Where's My Songbird was one of his paintings. The orc stole his painting.
I should also remind you that the Nine Arch Bridge was built several years ago.
Right, but if you think about it too, the Nine Arch Bridge was a failure. The guy who worked in the low prism wasn't necessarily like the most successful painter because he worked in the low prism. Here's the thing though, both of them hadn't had like this major success, right? Because the bridge turned into a prison and they stopped building the actual bridge and they said, let's just throw people in the remnants of our rubble. It wasn't like...
It's actually one of the best prisons though in like the country, right?
So as a reminder, Eltz is a city-state. With the exception of the city Eltz itself, there's only small towns. So there's there's nothing that compares to the lockbox.
Okay, Chupas, how dare you call us all out?
Oh, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate the subscription. You really help us continue making stories for everyone to enjoy.
And again,
Chubas, you were saying something.
2 months, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're having to come up with new emote designs too. So if you have any input into emotes, let us know in the Discord or contact me directly. It is something I'm super excited for us to have because we really want to just give you guys more. And in the Discord, hey, all of our Twitch emotes that we have on Twitch, all of them also available in the Discord to use no matter what tier subscriber you are.
I request more thorn.
We do need more thorn.
I actually would like more thorn, maybe with a green glowing stone.
Biting it. I'm still convinced he was going to eat that.
I thought so too.
As a DM, you had half your table.
That would be a really cool, like, kind of
eat
like GIF emote where it's just kind of like going off like the glowing light.
Yeah,
really cool.
That'd be super cute.
But yeah, to Chubas, I say, I do not want this person, this murderer, to be a small-sized creature with no concept of money or fame or power. I would be so upset.
Half of my PCs are that, so.
You are.
You've never been small-sized in your life.
All I'm saying is that one of the big bads from our last campaign was a metallic dragon.
True.
So.
Okay.
That's fair.
To be fair, the main villain of the last campaign was the greatest good dragon that existed.
Okay.
A big liar.
Again, we have to pretend like our DM. Okay, never mind. That's not the correct
I'm not saying it's a
decision.
dragon, but I think we need to start
You want to finish that, Victoria? We don't fight.
subverting like good and
Hold
evil.
me back, Jake. Hold me back.
I don't know. I want to see her beat you up.
I was gonna say that we have to some degree, pretend for a minute like our DM doesn't exist because we have preconceived notions of what our DM is going to throw at us, which I think is unfair because, admittedly, right? our DM's thrown a couple large bosses at us, right? A couple of mini bosses, a couple of the major story arc bosses. It's not fair for me to say, oh, you've given us 2 metallic dragons, so this is obviously like a major possibility of a metallic dragon. I don't think it's fair.
On the flip
I'm not
side-
saying it's a metallic dragon that is murdering. All I'm saying is we need to start changing that school of thought that, oh, that's a good creature. It wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
can
I'm
agree
saying.
with
That's
that.
fair, but would our player
I do
characters
love dragons.
know that?
No,
I actually
no,
kinda wanna
100%
have-
no. But
Absolutely
we're supposed to
not.
be figuring it out not as our player characters.
Right.
like-
okay, but I have to play some amount of stupid.
I do also want to make a comment. Like sometimes, like in the English book, the yellow flower is just a yellow flower. I think sometimes as a player, like when we see an event, we think about it.
Okay.
And we have to turn that off sometimes. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dragon is always good as part of that. Thinking about like, is it not good this time? Overthinking it. Overthinking maybe a note finding its way in our house.
Overthinking is always bad, but I think
We always overthink, though. You saw us overthink on Friday if you watched, where we
Yeah.
all were like,
More, but I have more.
detect magic.
Why do you have so many dragons?
I love them.
this is my favorite.
Why? Ooh,
Black
I like his
dragon
wings.
Yeah, you helped defeat that dragon as well,
Yeah.
so I'm all for it.
model. I'm always.
Wait, was this under ice at one point?
No, but that was where the concept
Different
came
one.
from.
Yeah.
I like his wings. He has like a little bluish.
He likes dragons. So this is always
so
an option.
You may
Caradoc,
see some of these
Isabel.
larger miniatures going on in the very
Sorry.
very near future. Guys, I wish we could do footnotes for another hour, but
Are we done?
we're
I think we're
actually
done,
10
yeah.
minutes over.
Oh no, I'm so
What?
sorry, guys.
I blame Victoria.
I know.
It's my
I have
fault.
I've been yelled at. They're asking. Apparently, they need the open mic is happening next, so we're being called off stage.
Oh my god, yes.
Sorry,
My Heart
guys.
Will Go On is coming up later. I get to sing that. Oh, wrong open mic.
But
sorry.
thank you all so much for joining us for Stories to D4's Footnotes. We always have fun doing this. I hope we can let's have a bigger one again soon.
I like these. I get
I
to
think-
yell at more than one person.
If we can do the New Year, maybe one.
Oh yeah, that
I
would
think
be
that would
fun.
be a good if we could get everyone.
Okay, well, let's talk with everybody.
Just an idea.
Thank you for your support. We're getting very close to our Battlesphere, so Battlesphere one-shot goal. And once we've hit that, we'll make sure to post on all of our socials, the Discord, the Twitter, so that you can join us for a special adventure of high-level 5e play.
Thank you,
Incredible.
Incredible? Incredible? Sorry if I'm getting that wrong.
Yeah, I think
Thank
that's
you.
right. Thank you.
We really do
Incredible.
appreciate it. And hey, we hope you have a wonderful holiday. We'll be back here on New Year's Eve for
Yeah.
our next session.
For a regular old session, right?
Yeah, just a regular old session with one player down and being kidnapped. You have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job, guys.
Okay, we need more dragons.
No.